We are looking at the beautiful North Fork River. I'm parked on a small bridge. We're just a few hundred yards south of the property. But had to start the video somewhere. I came in from the north today. We came out of Willow Springs and came in from the north. And I wanted to go past the gate to the property and kind of check out the access down at the river. That's pretty good public access. A lot of the, or at least one of the major canoe rental places will put in canoes right there. But you can access the property, or access the river from the property, as we'll see in a moment here. So if you're going north from that river crossing, it's only about a quarter mile, and when you get to the top of this hill, you'll see the blue gate on the left. That's National Forest on the right. Okay, now as we get to the top of the hill, you'll see there's a blue gate there on the left. There we go. And we're pulling directly onto the property. So you can certainly lock up that gate if you want maximum privacy. This entire open field here is on the property. You can see there's a fence line over there. That would be basically the northeast side. And the southwest side is beyond those trees, actually. That was just cleared for the power line right of way. And that line goes down to a neighbor's house. These are large tracts out here. This one's 10 acres. I believe the one next door is about 10 acres. So even though there are a few cabins and houses or whatnot around, it's extremely secluded. Excuse me. You'll see in a moment when we get to the cabin that you just absolutely can't see anybody. It's beautiful. Okay. Well, that's my little mini fridge. I thought I turned the fan off. I was like, what is that? Okay. So obviously we're headed down to the cabin. Just pulled off the county road. And this is beautiful up here. Level by the road. And actually I went by it, but I'll go back and get pictures. Off toward the fence line to the left of the trail we just went on is the cistern, and I think it's a 500-gallon cistern. It's set into the ground, primarily into the ground, and that's for this cabin. That's been the water source. It's just been used kind of as a recreational cabin. Have no idea if the cistern works. I didn't even look to see if there's water in it. It may work, it may not. But the line goes underground all the way to the cabin, and we'll be at the cabin in just a moment here. Super peaceful out here. Long private trail. I mean, this is great, great. It is tucked way back in here, but unbelievably, it does have electric. Close to the cabin now. Okay, so the cabin's over to the right. There's an additional parking spot right there. But I think I'll pull down here to this lower part. And we'll park and take a look at this. Okay. Oop. Okay. So there's a look at the cabin. The guys were just out here mowing and weed whacking and whatnot, and they had the air on in the cabin. That's what you hear running right now. These steps are cool. These are set into the ground. So this was designed, excuse me, basically as having a circular drive I pulled into the lower part, and there's a large spot. You could pull an RV or whatever down here, but it's designed so that you can actually pull onto this upper drive and park directly in front of the cabin. Large parking spot with steps into the cabin. There's the cabin itself. You can see the window air unit, which is running, keeping everything cool. Let's have a look at this bad boy. Really cool cabin. High peaked roof. Wow, and it's nice and cool in here. I think I'll turn that air off. Okay, so let's have a look. Super high ceilings. I mean, this was designed just to have a really kind of cabin, woodsy feel. The ceilings are, I don't know how high they are, but they're extremely high. There's a loft area up there, which is really cool. I'm trying to get some photos while I do the video, but I don't think I'm having too much luck. I can't get it all in one frame. Okay, well, let's just kind of go through and we'll see. This is the bathroom area, and it actually has a full-size shower, which is shocking. There's a little portable toilet, a sink, wall-mounted sink, and a water heater that only looks a few years old. Small window, storage shelf, kitchen area, hideous old sink. It's functional though. Nice window there right over the sink. There's a plug-in for a range, and actually, wow, there's a brand new fridge. I don't know if it's new, but it looks like it's barely been used. Here's the breaker box. So that's 100 amp service. They've got the water heater shut off and labeled. That's a good sign. Like any little cabin or whatnot that we do, it's being sold as is, but you can see the air was working, the fridge light was on, and they've got the water heater shut off, so that's a good sign. Even if it's been mistakenly turned on, you might have to replace an element, but it's just an electric hot water heater. There's some storage there. This is on a good cement slab. Good firm slab. Nice big windows. Let's go check out the loft though. This is a little precarious, so be careful on this, please. But actually really good sleeping loft. And it's got this, because of the high ceilings, I'm standing up straight here in the loft. There's a closet rod looking out the window. This is really cool, actually. There is a lot of space up here. You could have a full-size bed up here. Good solid railing. Okay. So this cabin, I mean, it's usable as it is. It's got a lot of potential. It could, in my mind, it could use a paint job. It really looks like just primer on the walls. I don't think it was ever fully painted. The outside is authentic cedar siding. And this cabin is probably about 10 years old. And the cedar has weathered beautifully, I think. It's kind of taken on some different shades. Now, here's a pipe coming out, presumably from the sink. And that looks like it connects in with a pipe, two other pipes that come out. We have no idea what the septic situation is, if there is one, if it just goes to a pit in the ground, or we have no idea. Since the property is 10 acres in size, there are no specific septic regulations. So whatever the guy did for septic, I just don't know. This is probably where the water comes in. I imagine it's got some insulation down in there, but I'm really not sure because the water goes in right here. That might be a shut-off switch then. And actually, here's another little pipe. Oh my gosh, this has phone. I didn't realize that. That is really neat. We've got phone line out here as well. So there should be internet through the phone line, or of course through the satellite dish. And that other pipe going in would be the power line. Good solid metal roof. It's in great shape. I mean, everything just looks really solid. I did notice we had one window. It's this window right here. These are all 2-pane windows except for this one. The outer pane is missing or broken. So it is still weather tight, but it's just the single pane on that upper part. This is an outdoor plug-in. I don't know if that motion light works or not. Talk about a view. I mean, this is gorgeous, gorgeous. The other thing I noticed, it doesn't need to be repaired, but it's a little unsightly, and at some point it will need to be repaired. This 6x6 post has got a pretty good bend to it. Now it's solid, it's not going anywhere, but something to be aware of. At some point that will have to be replaced because it does have a bend to it. This is beautiful though. The parking area was really a showcase when it was designed. These huge limestone, I guess, boulders go around the edge here. There are several of them. The guys started clearing around the boulders, and they ended up having to go, so they just got the one done. But I mean, you can see these massive, it took a big track loader to put these in place, and they do ring the edge of this parking area. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a number of them, and they go all the way to the end here. Really cool. So looking back toward the cabin, that is awesome. Let's go ahead and walk down to the river, and we'll check this out. I'll tell you what though, first I'm gonna get my other camera because I really wanted to get some photos of the North Fork River here. Okay. The iPhone takes pretty good pictures, but it doesn't have a zoom lens, and that's a drawback. Normally I would just stop the video here and then walk down the hill and resume again, but I want to show the entire walk to the river, and it just takes, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes. So this is really, really a unique property. We did these properties, like I said, about 10 years ago. And the gentleman that had this cabin used it a couple times a year. He worked on the road, and his son used it for a while, and then he would stop in and visit. And just recently, we made an agreement from him and got the cabin back from him. And we thought about keeping it and leasing it out just because we love this area. We've got a lot of friends and people we know right in this area. But we decided instead we're just going to put it on the market, let someone else have a chance at this. But anyway, where I was headed with that rambling story was these tracts, these large tracts, were originally split up about 10 years ago. And they were specifically designed to have frontage on the National Forest, which leads directly to the North Fork River. If you search the internet for properties on the North Fork River, the prices are, I mean, they're what I would call very high. I mean, we're talking 2 and 3 acre properties for sky high prices. And this property, although it doesn't technically have frontage on the river, it fronts the National Forest, and we're just a 30-second walk through the National Forest to the river. So instead of having access to 30 or 40 or 100 feet of river frontage, we have access to probably, a couple thousand feet of direct river frontage right here in the National Forest. We're actually still on the property, and we're about to transition into National Forest at the once we get to the edge of this cleared area. We walk down that little hill. I could have actually driven down here. If it's been raining, I wouldn't do it, but if it's been dry, and especially if you have a four-wheel drive, you could very possibly pull right down here. I've been down here in the past with a vehicle. So we're still on the property. We're about to transition into the National Forest. So not only do you have access to the North Fork River, but you have access to thousands and thousands of acres of National Forest, which is open for hunting, camping, trail riding. There are miles of really cool trails through here. So now we're transitioning into the National Forest. You can see actually this, I guess it's a type of bamboo. There's some of that on the property, and there's a ton of it in the National Forest. And this trail will lead us directly to the North Fork River. I mean, you can put your canoe in from here. You can fish. It's a good section of river for fishing generally. And like I said, now that we're in the National Forest, we can walk up and down the riverbank I'm going upstream, it's a couple miles, and even going downstream, the National Forest continues for quite a ways. I'm not positive how far in each direction, but I mean, from where we are, we're not crossing over any private property, and we can go up and down this riverbed to our heart's content here. So we're coming out. Here's a beautiful sandy area, and then this awesome gravel bar. And that is the very famous and very popular North Fork River. National Forest where we're standing, National Forest on the other side. What an awesome place to spend the day. This was designed as an ultra special property, and 10 years later it's still even more ultra special, as the North Fork River stuff is just skyrocketed in price. So yeah, where I am now, it took about 30 seconds to walk through the National Forest. And like I said, it's a situation where, in our minds, it's probably better than having your own quote-unquote private frontage, because then you might have 50 feet or 100 feet or whatnot, where here you have direct access to thousands of feet of this river frontage. I mean, you can walk up and down stream, you can find the fishing holes, there are fish all over. When the water rises, I mean, the river will change a little bit. It's always different, always changing. But I will mention that where the cabin is, that's high and dry, so you do not need flood insurance on that cabin. Look at this. This is just fantastic. Oh man, clear river. That's one of the reasons the North Fork is so popular. This area is packed with wildlife, specifically deer and turkey. They are all over through this national forest. They come down to the river. This is just gorgeous. The guys told me that this site was still really pretty and that I had to check it out, so this is unbelievable. If I had a spare pair of boots in the truck, I'd walk upstream a little bit, or downstream. Looks like either direction's a winner. We've only got one of these. We don't have a whole back room full of these these properties. We just have this one. We'd really like to get a good buyer for it, so Ask us any questions. Go to our website at InstantAcres.com. If it's still available, it will be on the website in the under 20 acres category. But rarely do we have anything with an actual cabin, so odds are this will go pretty quickly. Wow. What a place to hang out and spend the day. This is just beautiful. Huge sycamore trees down here by the river. On the property I noticed huge sycamores as well. I'll cut the video off here. 20 minutes, wow. That's probably the longest video I've ever done. Feel free to get a hold of us. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have about this property or any other properties. Special, special property. That's the acreage on the North Fork River with the cabin in Douglas County, Missouri.